What's up, everybody? How's it going? Got a bunch of clutter on my desk. How's everybody doing? Is there shit on my chest? Is it working? Am I live right now? Hope everybody's doing good. Sorry for being a little bit late. I was trying to add some moderators so we don't have to deal with things being crazy this time. I'm trying to add one more moderator really quick. Let me see here. It's not letting me. Streaming on YouTube is honestly kind of freaking annoying. Let me see here. Almost done, just adding one more mod. Hope everyone's having a good, what day of the week is it? Wednesday? Since I'm always just like quarantined and like every day is kind of the same, I honestly completely forget what's going on sometimes. All right, we added some mods. Everyone say hi to the new mods. We got Jazz is a new mod. Thank you so much for becoming mods. It's going to be great to not have to worry about random people being insane. John, thank you for the $2. Is it gay to kiss your homies goodnight? Only if you want it to be. What's up, Mayus? I love your videos. I hope your day is good. Thank you so much, Mayus. Yeah, so this is not a lawless stream anymore. You can't just, you know, this ain't the Wild West. You can't just shoot up the saloon, if you get what I'm saying. Foxy Lee is a mod. Miss Taylor, Jazz, thank you so much. Yeah, so today we're going to be responding to the updates to the Sienna May and Jack Wright situation. It's a very serious situation. I shouldn't laugh, but the way that Sienna May responds to everything is just fucking insane. I cannot handle the way this girl responds to situations. So first we're gonna go through Jack Wright's video that he posted, which is very sad, and then we're gonna go through the update that Sienna May posted on a blog, and we're just going to read through it and see what we think of how she responded to the situation. Yeah, so let me just give you a quick overview of what happened leading up to this point. If you guys don't know, I posted a video about it, so if you want to go like watch the first Sienna May video that I posted and then come back, that can get you up to speed. But basically, so Jack Wright's friend originally accused Sienna May of like assaulting Jack, and then Sienna May put out like these 2 long videos basically completely denying the allegations. Also at this time, Sienna was claiming that she was dating Jack on social media as far as I can tell, but now Jack is saying that they were never dating. They were just friends, and it seems like Sienna was just trying to like have a social media relationship with Jack, even though they weren't actually dating. Thank you, Carolyn, for the $5. You and the various commentary communities inspire me. Oh, that's awesome. Good luck on your videos. So, what was I saying? So basically she completely denied the allegations, but then Jack's friend posted a video where you can clearly see Sienna like making out with Jack and groping him while he's unconscious. So it's like very clear, like that seems like very clear evidence in my opinion. And I had some people who were like being really annoying, and they were like, oh, so it's assault if you kiss your partner while they're unconscious? Like, I've kissed my partner while they're asleep. Does that mean that I assaulted them? And like, that is such a ridiculously stupid like thing to say, because it depends on if your partner has like given you consent to do that. Like in my relationship with my girlfriend, we have established a boundary that like, you know, one of us won't care if the other one gives the other one kiss while they're sleeping. Like, it's not a big deal. But that's because we've established this boundary. If you are in a relationship with someone, or apparently just friends, you have to establish the boundary. You can't just start making out with someone while they're unconscious and think that that's gonna totally be okay just because you're like dating the person. Like, that's not how it works. It's still assault if they haven't consented to it. Doesn't matter which gender does it. So that's like my retort to that thing that people were saying. Also, what was I gonna say? I've seen a lot of people coming and commenting on my video now being like, Sienna and Jack actually weren't dating, so why did you say that they were dating in the video? Well, Sienna in the past had claimed that they were dating, so it's a very complicated and confusing situation. But I think first we should go through Jack's video that he posted on January 20th. What Sienna May did to me, and then we'll go through Sienna's response video to it. Hi, Mr. Beard, you're cool, one of my favorite YouTubers. Thank you for bringing issues. Thank you so much, Sock. Thank you for the $5. I appreciate that. Moist Critical mentioned you and your video. Wait, which that's crazy. What did he say in his video? Is this months old drama? So this was like months old drama, but Jack just recently decided to respond to Sienna. And then Sienna put out another response, but this time in text form. This time she has not danced, but she did put out a blog that seems like she's in a like a young adult novel. It feels like in Sienna May's head, she's like living in the world of The Notebook or something, and she sees herself as like a character from like The Notebook rather than a character in a horror movie, which is what she actually is. She's actually a character from a terrifying horror movie, but she refuses to see herself that way. I feel like that could be an interesting concept for a movie, or that I feel like I've seen sort of things like that done where it like seems like a rom-com, but then it's like a horror. That's basically how Sienna May views her own life. I'm starting to feel like she's delusional. Yeah, either delusional or self-obsessed or narcissistic. I don't know what the exact, how you would exactly define Sienna May, but I feel like all of those terms fit pretty well. My cat likes watching your videos. Oh, I'm glad your cat enjoys the videos. Thank you, Celia. Big fan of you, my person. Thank you so much, 143 Bunny. Thank you, Sir Lele. Thank you for breaching these topics and really delving into context and evidence. Yeah, I'm not always going to get things right. I haven't like fully researched. Well, I mean, I've watched everything about this situation, but yeah, I feel like when you cover situations on the internet, it's good to do your research ahead of time. Otherwise, you'll end up making false claims about people, and that's not good. One last thing, if anyone hasn't watched the video that I posted yesterday about this transphobic girl named Vanessa, you all should go check that out. I was pretty proud of that video. People seem to be enjoying that, so go check that out. Also, the H3 podcast nominated me for Best Drama Channel in their Steamy Awards, which I thought was pretty cool because I've been a fan of the H3 podcast for a while, so that was pretty awesome. Anyway, I think that's all the housekeeping out of the way, so let's get into this video.
I've sat down many times trying to do this. It's been very hard. I want to start off by saying, I just want to say thank you guys so much for your support and for giving me time. I wanted to share what I went through with Sienna and my side of the story. This all started when my friend came out with a tweet because he was worried about me. He actually witnessed.
Jack and James have been best friends since kindergarten. I struggle with seeing a girl get praised after telling my best friend to kill himself and sexually assaulting him multiple times after he set boundaries and repeatedly wonder why he doesn't like you back. Yikes. Yeah, so that was the first tweet that was put out that sort of ignited this whole situation. And then I think Sienna May responded to that tweet just completely denying the allegations. You aren't a drama channel. These are real issues that happen to you. Yeah, for me, I don't see myself being someone who's gonna like cover situations like the fucking situation that happened with like James Charles and Tati Westbrook. Like, oh my god, did you hear the tea that like James released this makeup palette and that Tati Westbrook was like, how could you? Like, no, that I don't find that shit interesting at all. But I absolutely will talk about how James Charles is a child predator. Fuck James Charles. Oh my god. I think James Charles is one of the most absolutely insane examples of someone who still has a career, and he's just like still going. So many cuts, WTF. Yeah, so I wouldn't like be upset at Jack that he has a lot of cuts in what he's saying. He clearly is emotional, and he isn't like super experienced on YouTube, so I wouldn't like give him flack just because there's a lot of cuts in the video.
A bunch of times what Sienna did to me. After Mason's tweet, their family reached out to our family, told Mason to take down his tweet, and he did. We wanted to settle it offline. Our families and our lawyers got together. My statement was confirming the tweet, it was the truth, and basically that we're handling it offline now. Sienna posted her own version of the statement and said she was going to handle it offline. After that, she basically posted an 8-minute video invalidating my feelings, saying untrue stuff about me, about my friend and my brother.
So they both said that they were going to handle the situation offline, and then she posted an 8-minute video basically denying all the allegations. That doesn't seem like you're handling the situation offline to me. It's a tough thing because once those allegations are out there, they're out there, and you know, people have to definitely respond to the allegations. But I feel like at this point we totally have enough evidence to see that Sienna May absolutely did like I totally am in the camp of believing Jack, especially because there's video evidence of her doing it.
I think the most hurtful thing is that what she did to me, she said it was untrue. That hurt a lot. After that video, another one of my friends came out with the video when I was at a party, like passed out on the couch. When they told me about what happened, they said they pulled her off of me. My twin, a friend, and another friend got in an argument with Sienna saying, you can't do that. Jack doesn't like you like that. That night she posted a 15-part aggressive video gaslighting everything about what happened, how much she loved me, and that I was using her for clout, which was all lies. It was typical gaslighting to a victim. It was, why didn't you stop hanging out with me? Why didn't you tell me in the first place? Someone who explained it perfectly is...
Yeah, from what he says in this video, he had like clearly established the boundaries that they were just friends apparently, but she was saying online that they were in a relationship. So I guess I'm just a little bit not clear on like, was Jack okay with having like a fake relationship online, but like behind the scenes they were just friends? That's the kind of the thing that confuses me about the situation. But yeah, definitely the whole situation just makes me very sad because there is such a tendency to not take male victims seriously. And I do think there is part of the situation that if, you know, I hate doing like the roles were reversed shit, but like if he was on top of her making out with her when she was unconscious, I think probably, you know, people would have instantly said like, that's absolutely not okay. But I feel like the whole like role, if the roles were reversed thing, like people use that to be like, oh, see, cancel culture only cares about female victims, when that's really not the case at all. I made a TikTok about this, but like people are so quick to call like female victims liars. It's absolutely insane. Like there was a victim of the YouTuber Danny Duncan recently, and like no one believed her in the comments because they were all fans of Danny Duncan. And it's just like absolutely insane that people like their first response is to just not believe someone just because they're like fans of that person, you know? So yeah, in my opinion, like the reason why male victims aren't taken as seriously a lot of times is because of the social expectations that like men are supposed to be the aggressors. So like the reason why male victims aren't taken seriously also stems from like the patriarchy, in my opinion, if that makes sense. So like the patriarchy definitely damages both men and women. But I absolutely hate when people take a situation like this with Jack and they're like, oh, cancel culture only cares about female victims, so therefore I'm going to not care about any victims. Like, those teenage boys who do that shit are so stupid. Do you wear a suit 24 hours a day? Yes, I never, I shower in this. I take shits in this suit. This suit has never left my body.
This guy on TikTok, he posted a video, and it was just, he explained like, oh my god. He explained everything perfectly.
Is a trauma that you have to process, and sometimes you have to process it alone because an entire society is against you as a man. Sienna, I've watched the video exactly of what happened, the video evidence that I've seen over and over and over again, and you say his hand moves. His hand moves because it falls off of his friend's back. Your hand is on his crotch. It is not on his upper thigh. He was unconscious. You did a bad thing, and I know you're trying to right it in every way you can because of the account that you have and the following that you have and the life that you're currently living, but I need you to just do us all a favor and admit what you did was wrong. I don't care how touchy-feely your relationship was prior to or after that moment, but just know that he did not speak up, and he did not act any different because he knew a society would be against him as it is. And now that everybody's seen the truth, you just attacked in a way that is supposed to be an apology or a righting the wrong. What?
Yeah, so I totally agree with everything this guy is saying, that she was just downplaying everything that Jack was doing. I don't necessarily agree with this guy's framing that, like, society is against men. It's complicated because I feel like the reason why, like I said, I feel like the reason why society doesn't listen to male victims is because the patriarchy teaches us that men can't be victims because men are the ones who are always in charge and, like, own women and are the aggressors. So that's why it damages men just as much. You know, that's like my perspective on it. But I definitely agree with everything he's saying about the actual situation, that like she shouldn't be able to just get away with it because she thought they were dating or she thought whatever. Like, it's up to the victim to decide. It's up to the person to decide if they're okay with you kissing them while they were unconscious. Like, if I found out that my girlfriend gave me a peck while I was unconscious, I wouldn't care at all because we're in a healthy, committed relationship where we've set that boundary. But if someone isn't okay with someone making out with you while you're unconscious, then that's absolutely assault and is like a actual crime.
What you're doing is manipulating right now. Any sane person knows that they wouldn't have to go on multiple platforms to post something like this, and they wouldn't be getting angry in the videos that are supposed to be addressing and apologizing. I know you've got a lot to lose, and I know you've got a lot to live for, but here's the truth. You getting worked up because people are trying to get the truth out of you does not make it right to get shitty in a video. Just know that the truth will prevail, and your bullshit lies will come out.
I think his video was one of the reasons why I was okay and was able to not come out with like an aggressive statement like her. I was able just to, I knew the truth. I knew what she did to me. Sienna and I met 4 years ago in high school. She was dating my good friend.
And I actually respect him that he, like, some people are definitely, some victim blaming people I've seen are like, oh, why did he wait so long to respond or whatever? But I feel like if you're a victim, it should be up to you to tell your side of the story whenever you feel comfortable. So I don't think it's fair to, like, force someone to tell their side of the story necessarily. And I don't know, it feels to me like everything he's saying is definitely genuine.
And basically it did not turn out well. She cheated on him 2 times, and it kind of like created this whole problem in her friend group. I'm the type of guy that's all for like second chances with people, and I always try to see the good in people. I was in the Hype House. I was going back and forth from LA, and Sienna had just gone viral on a couple videos. She reached out to me, and
Yeah, I'm getting the vibe that this is the type of guy who definitely doesn't like conflict. And when you pair up someone who doesn't like conflict with someone who is extremely aggressive and won't take no for an answer, that creates really horrible toxic situations, because it seems like he didn't want to upset Sienna by, like, you know, being really firm with her necessarily. And I believe that everyone should obviously speak up and, you know, speak for themselves and say, no, I'm not okay with this. But the most important thing is, it's never okay to do anything to anyone unless you have consent from that person ahead of time. So it's not like his responsibility to tell Sienna every single time that he's not okay with things. It's her responsibility to know that there is consent involved before she initiates with him. Everyone's saying ban Emma. What is Emma saying? Is Emma doing like victim blaming or something?
Basically asked if I want to do an interview with her in LA, and I said, of course. We hung out, reconnected. I showed her around the Hype House, introduced her to all my friends, and I was happy for her.
So he was in the Hype House ahead of time, it sounds like, and he had known Sienna before, and then Sienna went viral, so then he brought her into the Hype House because she had some success on social media. Love the videos. Congrats on 360. Thank you, Trash Man.
And we just had fun hanging out. I just want to clarify that we both knew that we were just friends. She was seeing and talking to other guys in LA all the time, and I just thought of her as a good friend. We were making videos, we were making dance trends, we had fun.
So that's so weird that, like, did Sienna legitimately believe that they were dating? Or was she just lying that they were dating? Or did they have some sort of understanding that they were going to do a fake, like, social media relationship, but, like, behind the scenes they knew that they were just friends? That's the only thing that I'm kind of confused on in this whole situation. Because I said in the original video that they were dating because I was under the impression that from what Sienna had said that they were dating, but then Jack is saying that they never were dating.
It was just strictly friends, and we both knew that. At this point, nothing inappropriate was happening between us. We were just friends, everything was fine. This next part of the video is very difficult for me to talk about. I've been wanting to talk about it for a long time. So the first incident where...
Thank you for the $5. Emma said that SA was okay. Yeah, I didn't see Emma's comment, but if someone is making some sort of excuse that, like, kissing someone while they're unconscious is okay, that's not an okay thing to do. It's never okay to do that unless they have given you consent that you can do that. Unless you've established the boundary that you can kiss someone while they're unconscious, you can't kiss someone while they're unconscious. Like, it's really not that complicated. Unless they have said, like, establish that boundary, I'm okay with you doing that, you just can't do that. I mean, there could be a situation where you kiss someone when they're unconscious and they haven't given you consent, and then it is okay because they're okay with it, but you can't know whether someone's going to be okay with it or not, so you shouldn't do it because you might be assaulting the person if you do it. So don't kiss someone while they're unconscious unless you have firm consent that you can do that. Like, it's really not that complicated.
Sienna crossed boundaries. It was after filming. We went into the room. I was just chilling on my phone on the bed, and she got naked, like completely naked, nothing on, and straddled me when I was literally just chilling on the bed. But I didn't know what to do in, like, the situation because it was just, like, random and weird. Quickly told her, Sienna, get off. We're just friends. Stop.
Yeah, so that's obviously not a fucking okay thing to do. You can't just expose yourself in front of someone without consent. You can't just assume that, oh, this guy might like me, so I'm gonna, like, seduce him by taking my clothes off. That's not how the fucking world works. That is a crime. I feel like I really do think this is just me speculating, but from everything Sienna May has done, like her fucking dancing video or the statements that she's put out, it feels like she has her entire worldview from like really toxic romance movies or something. Like, you know, in certain really toxic movies, the characters will be like, you know, they say no the first time, but you just have to keep pushing and pushing to get a yes or whatever, you know? I feel like some people have this really fucked up view in their head that like, oh, if someone's just my friend, then I need to just keep like pushing, and maybe if I seduce them, then they'll like me. And that's just like, that's not how the fucking world works. Yeah, trigger warning for essay. Sorry, I should have put that. I'm going to put that in the description in the future if I do talks about this. But it's very like even in the movie Blade Runner, there's like this scene where Harrison Ford's character goes up to this other character and she's like, no, I don't want it. And then he just like pushes her up against the wall and kisses her. And then that, at the time, that was just seen as like romantic because, oh, if someone is, you know, if someone is saying no, they're just saying no because they're like pretending to say no. So you have to like push and get them to say yes, which is not how the world works whatsoever. And that is absolutely like unacceptable. You have to get consent ahead of time. My second boyfriend did that to me, called it the naked man technique. Oh no, I'm so sorry to hear that. That's horrible. Girlie thinks she's in an episode of Gossip Girl. Yeah, seriously. She thinks she's in a Gossip Girl episode, but she's really in a Friday the 13th movie.
They're trying to make out with me. They're like just doing a bunch of things to me. And I kept on saying, Sienna, stop, get off. I didn't want to like...
Yeah, the second... I mean, obviously, the second he says, no, get off, she should have gotten off, but she should have never taken her clothes off and gotten onto him in the first place. It's not the victim's responsibility to tell you no. It's your responsibility to know that it's a yes before you do shit.
Be like aggressive. I didn't want to hurt her, you know? So I pulled her off of me, and it took like a couple of tries because I didn't want to be like too rough. And I went out of the room, and that was like the end of it. The next morning, where she was like, I'm so sorry for doing that. That was, I don't know what went through my head. I had to clarify again that I didn't like her that way. We were just friends.
She's in a Law and Order SVU episode, honestly. Dong dong. Yeah, so at this point, Sienna had already committed a crime, and in a perfect world, Jack should have been able to, you know, like accuse her of that and go to the police with it. But when you're in a difficult situation like Jack is in, where you're like, oh, I thought this girl was my friend, I care about her, I don't want to upset her, so I'm going to keep giving her more chances. I do think that in those situations, like, it's hard to talk about these sorts of things because you don't want to be like victim blaming whatsoever, but I do think it is good to, I just think it's good to explain to people and for people to know that if someone ever does something like this and crosses your boundary even once, that is totally enough for you to completely cut that person off, never speak to them again, report them to the police. Don't give people multiple chances if they take their clothes off and get on top of you. Like, that's not something you should give people multiple chances. That should be something where you just completely violated me and that's absolutely unacceptable, you know?
She said sorry. That was it. After that, these type of things kept happening. She would do something and I would forgive her, and she said it wouldn't happen again, and we would go on and making fun videos. After all those type of things kept on happening, the Hawaii incident happened where I was passed out unconscious almost like the whole night. She got on top of me, took advantage of me, groped me. I'm so glad they pulled her off of me, and honestly I'm glad that they have evidence. After Sienna found out about...
So, even if there was some sort of misunderstanding and Sienna did think that they were in a relationship, but Jack thought that they weren't in a relationship, even if you're in a relationship with someone, that still doesn't give you the right to do things without their consent. So it really doesn't matter whether they were in a relationship or not, because a lot of people do have this like fucked up idea in their head that, oh, once you're in a relationship with someone, it gives you more leeway to do things that they're uncomfortable with. And that's also like not how the world works.
The video, she said sorry. She said if this got out, she would be done. That is
So if she is saying if this gets out, I'll be done, that means that she is she completely understands that what she has done is wrong and it's worth like her career being ruined over it. So I don't know how any person could possibly take Sienna's side at this point unless you believe that everything Jack is saying is a complete lie. I know it's not the point of the stream. Have you ever had any backlash from Danny Mullen fans? Yeah, I did have a little backlash from his fans. Danny Mullen himself has never reached out to me. I have no intention of interacting with Danny Mullen or his fans. I just wanted to make that one video about him and be fucking done because him and his entire fan base are very cancerous. What's your opinion on Papa Guts' dumb take on this? What did I haven't watched Papa Guts' video on this, so I don't know. Maybe I'll go check out his video on the situation. I mean, in my opinion, it's like pretty clear that like what Sienna was doing is unacceptable because, like I said, it doesn't matter whether they were or weren't in a relationship. Even if she was under the impression that they were dating and that it actually was romantic, even if Jack thought it wasn't romantic, you still have to have consent for things that you do in a relationship. Dating someone doesn't suddenly give you consent to do whatever you want to. That's just not how it works.
It's horrible, and she's working on boundaries, and she was seeking therapy, and shortly after, there's
seeking therapy, working on boundaries. It's like, no, you've already committed a crime. You have already committed multiple crimes, Sienna. Like, yes, everyone should get therapy, everyone should work on boundaries, but once you have committed crimes and violated someone, you should stay the fuck away from him.
Party, I was taking pictures with a couple other girls. We took a picture, Sienna came in, started screaming at me, got mad at the girls, told me to come to her room to talk to me. She started screaming at me, and I was like, Sienna, there's no reason for you to be mad when you're getting with other guys in LA. I can't just take a simple picture with a couple girls.
I'm just confused because why would they be... If they had both established that they were just friends, then why would there be any sort of jealousy here? I'm just not understanding. If the relationship is just friends, then why would there be any sort of... Is it just that Sienna is that controlling that... Because from what he's saying, it does seem like Sienna was under the impression that they were dating. Maybe that's just her completely ignoring everything that he's saying, and he's telling her that they're friends, and she's just assuming they're dating just because. Why grope someone while unconscious, period? Yeah, like, just don't do that.
That's when she pulled me in and grabbed me and tried to make out with me, and I got pissed and told her to leave. I wanted to stay at the party, and she kind of had already been yelling at every single person in the party. So two friends wanted to take her home, and
it just sounds like she's such a horribly toxic person, just yelling at everyone. Just being an absolute asshole to everyone around her. Oh my god. Apparently she was in the Hype House show as well, but then they edited out everything that she was a part of in that show, which is so great. I really, really hope that she has no career after this, honestly. Controlling as fuck. Yeah, it's super controlling. But if you're just friends, then you have there's nothing for you to control there. There's no relationship. And obviously being controlling in a relationship is not okay as well.
While the car was moving, she jumped out of the car, rolled, and said, I have to get back to Jack. So I ran back to the house, and I was like hiding from her. and I was just waiting for her parents to finally pick her up. Looking back now, I don't know why I stayed friends with her, stayed around her. I truly thought she was gonna change for some reason. I feel like she'd say she had so much love for me and that she truly cared for me, and then the next night she would do something like that. She knew I had those boundaries. So when I was at my most like vulnerable state, like when I was arguing, getting heated, or when I was asleep, or
Yeah, I think it can definitely be a thing where you feel like she's this person I've known for so long. You know, I'm in LA and I have this person who I feel like I have this connection with. And so it really is surprising how easy it is for like people can get sucked into toxic cycles of abuse like way more easily than we'd like to think. And I think that's like a very natural thing for you to want to keep giving them more chances and keep thinking that they can be the person that they claim that they're, you know, that they want to be, especially when someone is very manipulative and says, I promise you so much, I'm going to be better the next time, you know.
passed out. That's when she would take advantage of me, because
She's love bombing him. Yes, exactly. Love bombing. We talked about that in the Trisha video. Love bombing is when you just keep showering love and affection onto someone to, you know, make up for the fact that you keep abusing them.
she knew I was at my most vulnerable state. When I'm awake, I hated it. I hated that touch. I hated any intimacy with her because I knew we were just friends.
She knew they were just friends, but apparently caught feelings. If she knew that they were friends the whole time, you don't get to fucking treat someone like they're your boyfriend if they haven't explicitly said, I'm your boyfriend. And you also don't get to treat your boyfriend like you treated him. Like I said, this is like 2 levels of fucked up. Even if that's your boyfriend, you still don't get to treat him like that.
I didn't want that from her. And especially with like the past couple of things she did, I didn't want anything to do with that. Over the next couple of months, I was stuck in this toxic cycle. I was stuck with her crying to all my friends, saying that I didn't.
Mr. Beard, have you considered she jujued on the beat in her response? Yeah, that is true. I hadn't really considered that. Thank you for bringing that up. Very, very relevant, Andy. Sienna was seeing other man while with Jack. Yeah. She was like seeing other men while with Jack, the person who was just her friend, and then she got jealous at Jack for taking pictures with girls, so she started screaming at everyone at the party. And then once they left the party, she rolled out of her car onto the ground and said, I need to get back to Jack. What the fuck? I have never heard of someone this fucking crazy. I'm an SA survivor, your channel, and overall addressing your opinion on this topic. Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Bro, she did what? Yeah, that's what he just said. So she thought she was dating him, but then she was sleeping around with other guys, even though they actually weren't dating. And then he took pictures with another girl, so she started screaming at him. Oh my god.
I didn't like her back. And
are they taking it to court, though? I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. They said they were going to settle it offline. I don't know if that means taking it to court or just trying to like settle things out of court, like some sort of settlement or something. I'm not exactly sure what's happening.
Why don't I like her back? And she would get mad at me for not caring about her as much as she cared about for me. But she'd also be doing these things to me. I would go see other guys in LA. So it was like, couldn't win at all. I couldn't get out of this. She would constantly.
That makes me so sad. He should have just, like, I wish he could have just been able to completely cut her off and be like, you've assaulted me multiple times, like, and I never said that we were dating. Like, get the hell away from me. Friendships can be really manipulative and toxic. Yeah. Yeah, that is true, that there can be friendships where you have, like, a sexual element to it. Like, it's not just, but if he's never given consent to any of this shit, then it's, like, just absolutely not okay. But, yeah, I definitely don't want to make it sound like I'm saying, like, come on, Jack, why didn't you just leave? Why didn't you just cut her off? because as a victim, it is incredibly incredibly hard to leave these sort of manipulative situations.
They come to my house, remember my door codes. It got to the point where I had to like start screaming at her to like get out of my house because I was so sick of her just like breaking into my house. I would wake up and see her car just sitting outside at like 2 a.m.
Someone who's been mentally abused, I understand how hard it is to leave your narcissist when you should. Yeah. Especially in like abusive situations where you're financially dependent on your partner, or you share a living situation together, or you have like children together. Like, the more things that you have tying yourself to an abusive partner, the harder it is for you to detach yourself from that person. Obviously, that's not what's happening in this situation, but that's just something people don't always mention, is that like the more, and that's a common tactic that abusers use, is to get the person financially dependent on you, get the person so you're the only person in their life. Like, that's the reason that abusers try and get you to cut out everyone else in your life, get you to be financially dependent on them, because when you have nowhere else to turn, then it makes it so much easier for them to keep you in the cycle of abuse.
She would break into my house, and when I was sound asleep, she'd come into my room, and I'd wake up to her hand in my pants, and it wasn't.
She broke into his house while he was asleep and came into his room? Oh my, what the fuck? It's like actually insane. It's like, what else can I even say other than that's insane? My hair is fucking, I really need a haircut. I apologize for my hair, everyone.
Wasn't like the only time it happened too. I was so like used to it. I was so used to it that I don't know, it was just like normal for me that I didn't think there was such like a problem at all. Like, part of me wants to blame myself for being nice and sticking around after so many times.
Don't blame yourself, Jag. It's okay. I agree. This makes me really sad. It can be tough because I would say like being nice and being like a caring and empathetic person is like a very positive character trait to have. But I think that's like an important thing to work through with like a therapist, is figuring out how to still make sure that you're setting those boundaries, even though you never want to make someone upset. You never want to make someone feel like you're hurting them. You have to work through with a therapist, figuring out ways to like set those boundaries, you know. But you should never victim blame a person who wasn't able to set those boundaries, because cycles of abuse are so toxic and it is so easy to get sucked into that, you know. I've seen people say they were friends with benefits. Even if they were friends with benefits, then yeah, that requires consent. Your apology for your hair was more valid and sincere than any of Sienna's apologies. True. Genuinely love your videos, and you as another survivor, I really appreciate you talking openly. Yeah, of course. It's the least I can do.
But now I realize that I was stuck in this like manipulative cycle of her acting like she extremely cared about me, and then that night she would do stuff to me, and it was just so normal for me. I got used to it, which sucks. I feel
Yep, that's the cycle of love bombing, absolutely.
like no one should have to go through. It's weird. I almost felt like I owed it to her for some reason. I don't know why. Like, I felt like she had this like control, like this power over me. It was all, I don't know. I was like stuck. And I feel like you should never have to like worry about like falling asleep and waking up to one of your good friends like touching you, you know? I was like
he hadn't even let her into the house. She's driving up in the middle of the night, breaking into his house. This is like literal horror movie shit.
Terrified for some reason, which you shouldn't be from like a person. One night she started ripping off my clothes, touching my crotch area, trying to make out with me. I mean, it was just like same old. Like,
same old? Oh, I feel so bad for this dude. That's all I can say, is I just feel so fucking horrible for him. And by the way, Jack saw my original video that I posted about Sienna, and he said that he really appreciated the video. So that definitely means that he at least agreed with everything I said in that video. So we follow each other now, and everything I've seen from the guy, I mean, I'm not up to date with a lot of these, Hype House influencers necessarily, but everything I've seen from him, he seems like a really just sweet guy.
I'd say, Sienna, stop. Sienna, stop. Go back to the couch. Sienna, stop. So I locked the door. She was trying to get in, and
this needs to be I don't fucking understand. This needs to be taught. I was homeschooled, so I don't know what's taught in school, but are children not taught how consent works in school? Do people not understand that if someone says stop one time, if you go past that boundary, you are committing an actual crime? Literally, breaking past consent one time is a crime. It's insane. People don't understand the severity of this shit. And I do think, I don't like to use the words double standard, but I do think there is this idea of, I think, like I said, it all stems from the patriarchy. It's this idea that guys always want sex and that guys are always looking for sex. And so it makes some women feel like, oh, well, if guys actually want sex, then when they're saying stop, they're just, playing hard to get, It obviously goes both ways. Obviously, men don't respect women when they say to stop either. But men do not always want sex, okay? Men deserve the same amount of consent and the same amount of caring about their boundaries as women do. Everyone deserves equal amount of consideration when it comes to consent and boundaries.
And I literally just slept on the floor, and she finally went to bed. It's very awkward the next morning, and she'll say sorry, and I'm like, Sienna, this happens so many times. You do not respect boundaries. You just, oh my God. So my dad was born.
So he had to sleep on the floor because he was getting violated so many times? She posted a short and old video of her crying to her YouTube. When did she post? Did she just post?
Born and raised in Hawaii. So we planned a trip to the beach house my dad grew up on in Hawaii. And Sienna's family basically planned the same trip on the same dates. They left a couple days before us, and we were supposed to leave on a certain date. But I didn't want to leave because she already left to go back home, and I did not want to be at home with her because I know she'd find a way to start hanging out with me again. So my mom got a text from Sienna's mom saying that Sienna is on a plane taxiing right now. Hearing that she was coming back, it was this cycle is never gonna end. It's it's gonna be like this forever. That's what it felt like. She was always gonna make her way back towards me. She wasn't respecting my space at all. She knew I wanted my space. There's another time I went to Hawaii with a couple friends for my trip, and she kind of found.
Yeah, I guess what I would say is that anyone who feels like you're stuck in a cycle like this where you feel like it's never going to end or you're never going to get out, just know that well, I was going to say that you should be able to reach out and talk to people and that they'll believe your story, but then there's so many fucking victim blamers in the world, which is absolutely disgusting. But just know that the genuine people in your life will listen to you and will believe you, and that I don't know, I care about you if you're stuck in a cycle like that. I guess it's a sad world that we live in where people can be literally stuck in a cycle of abuse and people will just believe the abuser rather than believe the victim. And it's really fucking really sad.
Found a way to get on that trip, and we went to a party one night. She got mad that I was talking to some girls, and she took me into the bathroom to talk to me, saying that she wanted to leave. she was blocking the door, so like I couldn't just like throw her out of the way. All I had was, stop, Sienna, don't do that. If I come out, she will like scream at me in front of everyone and think that I did something. I mean,
Yeah, so there's not just sexual abuse, there's emotional abuse. I mean, keeping someone from, like, not allowing someone to leave is legally defined as kidnapping, I'm pretty sure. Breaking and entering, she broke into his house without consent. So I feel like she could be charged with many crimes. But another sad reality of how the world works is that when people commit these sort of crimes, it is such a massive hassle to take them to court and go through the process of accusing them. And then, you know, because you have to spend possibly months of your life going through the entire court process, and then you don't even know if at the end of it that they're going to actually be held accountable for their actions. So yeah, it's a really tough thing where people are like, why isn't she in prison yet? It's because, you know, the criminal justice system takes a long time. And obviously, I definitely obviously agree with, like, innocent until proven guilty, and it makes sense why court cases take a long time sometimes, but it's just like, it's just sad that it feels like so rarely do people actually get held accountable for actions like this. And like Sienna is still just, you know, maybe her career's been damaged a little bit, but she's still going around posting. James Charles is still posting YouTube videos. And yeah, maybe James Charles gets 1 million views now instead of 10 million views, but it's like he's still making thousands and thousands of dollars after he's literally sexting minors. Like, what? It's insane.
I feel like no one believes a male, especially in like that type of situation. But yeah, she was on the.
And that's another thing, is the bystander effect. Like, if you have a friend who is being yelled at by their partner regardless of their gender, if you have a friend who it seems like their partner is like crossing their boundaries, you have to stand up for them. You can't just let shit like this happen, because it's so often people will just stand by and be like, oh, that's their business, I don't want to get involved with their business. It's like, no, sometimes you have to step in and you have to like take a stand and really care about your friends, you know?
Counter and wrapped her legs around me and started like, let me out of the bathroom. Yeah, just weird stuff. That night we went home.
So she forced him to stay in the bathroom and then wrapped her legs around him so he couldn't leave. That's like entrapment and fucking assault.
Made sure we had like different rooms to stay in. And I got in the shower and she picked the lock of my door. I made sure to lock the doors, but she picked the lock and walked in. I was in the shower. All I heard was just like the door opening. And that's when I was just done. I screamed at her, told her to get out. She started crying. She went and slept in my bed. And I went to my friend's trundle bed that was like upstairs.
She picked the lock on his fucking door while he was showering. Like, how? There's no possible way that you can, like, be redeemed from that. There's no possible way you can spin that into like, oh, I didn't know, I didn't understand, I didn't know how bad it was to pick the lock of his shower and break in while he's naked. I didn't understand. Why didn't no one ever told me that was bad?
Stairs, and that's how like the night ended. So now we're caught up to when everything went public, when Mason posted his tweet. Since everything was brought to social media, multiple guys came out to me and said that Sienna did similar things to them. And basically, I'll show the text right now.
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for the fact that he, one of the reasons, it seems like one of the reasons he decided to finally make this longer video about it was because he had heard that there were other guys that were being taken advantage of in the same way. So he felt like if he made this public statement that it could help keep other people more safe, you know. So that makes sense to me of why he would have waited a while to post, but now he has heard that this has been a cycle that she's been doing to more people. This is insanely scary. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Hey, bro, I just saw your TikTok. It's about Sienna that was really aggressive towards me to a point where friends had to, like, keep hiding me from her. That's fucking terrifying. She literally is like a serial, like a character out of a horror movie. I feel like someone needs to make the Sienna horror movie. I don't want this to go anywhere but tell you Sienna low-key blanked me while I was hella drunk and I was talking to a different girl. I wonder what the word was after Loki blanked me. God. Sienna Loki did the same shit to me at a party that was my house was throwing. Jack was there. I was drunk, and so was she. And obviously these are just accusations, but I feel like it doesn't make sense to me that 3 people would have come to him with different accusations, especially with how, people tend to not believe male victims. So I tend to believe these screenshots, but I mean, we don't have like definitive proof of her doing this. But I feel like the definitive proof of her kissing him on video that one time shows me all I need to know.
I asked all of them for permission to post, crossed out all their names. We don't want her to hurt anybody else. We don't want anyone to go through that experience. At the time, it feels humiliating. You feel like you have no power. You have no control in the situation. You feel, I don't know, it's horrible. I just want to start off by saying that I didn't stay silent in this situation over these last couple months. I talked to my friends, my family, my parents, counselors.
Yeah, I believe that you should never be expected to talk about these sorts of things publicly. It is interesting that his friend was the first one to post about the situation. Like, that's kind of a shitty thing to do as a friend if Jack hadn't given the friend permission to post about it, but I'm not 100% sure if the very first thing, like making this go public, he had permission to do. But that's another thing. Even if your friend has been in a situation like this, like, don't expose it to the public unless they've given you consent to do that, because it can be really traumatizing for victims to have their story broadcast to the world like that, especially because, like, it seems like it's been really hard on Jack having everyone pick apart. It's just, I can't imagine how much it sucks to not only have experienced the abuse, but then have to also deal with all the people on the internet trying to pick apart every little thing you said and find any discrepancy in what you said. And I know that, like, sometimes that is necessary because sometimes, very rarely, people do lie. But at the same time, like, I just can't imagine how horrible that would be to have thousands and thousands of people being like, I don't know, this seems a little weird, and maybe this isn't right, and we need to pick apart this, and it's just like, it just like re-traumatizes you.
And I was able to process everything. I don't think
Yeah, you can't process it when it's so public. Yeah, it sounds like he was taking time to process in private.
I'll ever be the same person I was before Sienna. It sucks, and there's going to be people that try to take advantage of you and get you at your most vulnerable state. And
yeah, that's just so sad. It's something that can change you for your entire life. It's not just something where you're hurting someone in the moment. It's something that they, might carry with them for the rest of their life.
And that's...
I'm not sure the jokes about this situation being made into a horror movie are appropriate. Yeah, you're probably right. I'm sorry for insensitive jokes about... This situation should not be made into a horror movie. What I'm saying is that Sienna May as a person would make a good horror movie villain. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying this situation should be made into a horror movie. Maybe that was a little insensitive. I'm sorry.
That's not fair. That's not fair at all. And it's, a lot of the time, it's usually like the nice people that like let people walk all over them. And that was me. Like, I let everyone just walk all over me, no matter what. Like, I would do anything for anyone, And I think that's one of the things she gave me was I learned how to be more bold and finally say no. And
Yeah, that is I mean, I know he's not watching this, but what I would say is that don't feel guilty that you weren't able to say no. Like, it's totally okay that you weren't able to say no. And yes, it is good to learn how to establish your boundaries better moving forward, but you didn't do anything wrong because you weren't able to say no. Social conversations you bring to the table really make a difference. Thank you so much, Hans.
know that it was right to speak out. I feel like people don't know what you go through until you're in it, and it's definitely like humiliating, weird, awkward.
Yeah, and so many people have this idea that assault is like something that happens when you're walking alone at night and some random person jumps out of the bushes, you know, and like that does happen rarely, but a lot of times it happens from people who you're close with, people who you thought you could trust, you know, family members. And that's the really scary thing about it. And it also just makes it a harder situation for victims because people are like, that person did it? I can't believe that. They seem like they're such good friends with you, you know.
I want to be that person that says it's okay. It's okay to speak out. You're not going to be known for that. It's just a little obstacle that you have to get through. It's something you have to get through, and it sucks, but I feel like in my situation, like I've just learned. You learn from it. I've learned so much from everything. I've grown so much as a person. It's insane. And as of Sienna, I don't know if she'll ever be sorry. I don't know if she'll ever learn from what she did or she'll ever admit to what she did. But I just don't want her to do this to other people. If you've been through a similar situation as me, I encourage you just to speak out to anyone. And trust me, it helps so much.
Yeah, this video I feel like is going to have a real like positive impact on people. I really hope. I think it has like 12 million views. I really do hope that him being so strong to share this will really help influence young people to realize that you can speak out. And I'm just proud of him for this. Thank you for the donation, Aiko. Thank you for being based. You're welcome.
And I just wanted to say thank you so much for listening to me and letting me take time and breathe and process everything. And I'm glad I'm finally ready to tell the world my story. If you're watching right now and you've been through a situation like mine, I just want to say your feelings are valid. Your feelings are valid, your opinion is valid. I believe you, and I want you to know that you can talk to someone, you can talk to anyone, you can talk to me. But that's how I want to end it off. I love you guys.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. And I think it is just such a thing where men are expected to like not be vulnerable when you go through something like that. So seeing someone really showing that type of vulnerability, and because it's people see it as like a what's the word for it? Emasculating. People see it as emasculating to like be a victim from a woman, you know, but that's not the case whatsoever. Like, you are just as valid. I think I thought that was I thought he handled that in a great way, and I really appreciated that he put out that message to young people that that they're valid if they've gone through a similar situation. Sienna has been so mean to him after he said this. Oh yeah, I mean, Sienna has just been like victim blaming and denying and being horrible the entire time. Let me see if oh, Sienna posted a new video called Keeping It Real an hour ago. All right, let's check out what this shit is. Sienna May posted this during the stream, I guess. God damn it. All right, well, that was heavy. Now maybe we can not laugh at the situation because it's funny, but laugh at how absolutely fucking insane Sienna May is. Hopefully one day she'll be trying to lockpick her way out of a prison cell. Oh, no. Yeah, it's not going to be that easy. It's going to take more than a bobby pin to get out of a prison cell. Oh, God. Justice for Jack, I agree. Yeah, I personally experienced something kind of similar to what Jack went through. Not exactly similar, kind of similar. I don't want to go into details, but it really messed up the last, really messed up like a few years out of high school because not only was it being victimized, but it also was that people didn't believe me and people turned away from me, and my entire friend group pushed me away because I spoke out about how I was hurt in that situation. So that was tough. I guess I don't know why I'm sharing that. I don't want to get into details of the situation, but it happens to a lot of people. And if you've gone through something like that, it is totally valid for you as well. All right, let's look at this this Keeping It Real video that Sienna posted. All right, really great off the bat. Looks like she is crying. Why are you crying, Sienna? What's going on here?
Slowly learning to breathe. I'm so fucking hungry when I don't have the energy to even get up or make food or do anything. And I feel so fucking lonely.
I don't care. Oh my God. What the fuck? Keep this shit off of social media, Sienna. You think this is gonna get you sympathy points? Like, fucking... Even if someone is an absolutely horrible person, they can still, like, be sad, you know, and that's still, like, an emotion that horrible people can experience. But this is not the fucking time when you're dealing with these allegations to try and farm some sympathy points. Keeping it real. You're so brave, Sienna, for just keeping it real after denying allegations and being a serial abuser. You have us. We will always listen to you, and everyone in the chat. We're a family here. Oh, thank you, Sock.
But I don't want to hang out with friends because I don't want to bring down their energy because I have no energy to do anything.
Sienna, I think you should go talk to a therapist about this and not come to the internet after you are a serial abuser. Go to a fucking... Do they have therapists in prison? They should have therapists in prison because we believe in restorative justice. So you should go get a real good prison therapist and really talk through your problems, Sienna.
I feel so lonely.
There are so many prison therapists that will really help you with these emotions. So just go to prison and then talk to a prison therapist. That's my advice for Sienna.
I'm so fucking stupid. Never mind. I'm fine. No.
Oh my god. I can't! Oh, it makes me so angry. Seeing shit like that, it's just like you have to choose your words so carefully. I don't care, Sienna. Keep that shit off of social media. How is she not embarrassed? I mean, yeah, it just seems like she's just... Every single thing that she has done has been trying to manipulate the emotions of people. But she should see by now that that's not working. Clearly, the majority of people have completely turned against you at this point. Like, I don't understand how you think that this is gonna gain you any more sympathy. I guess in her head, she's like, I'm gonna keep it real. I'm gonna show the world that even abusers can be sad. Even serial abusers can have tough days, guys. To all these serial abusers out there, you're gonna go through tough times. Like, okay, Sienna. All right. Okay, so let's look at, this was posted 4 days ago. This is a, this is a blog post that Sienna made in response to Jack Wright's video. I almost expect her to break into a frenzy of katana moves while crying. Yeah, that actually would have been really funny if she started breaking out the dance moves while she was crying. I'm just so lonely. She could have played that song. Lonely. And the thing is, I would not put it past her to do some shit like that. Okay, so let's get into this this glorious blog post that she made. So Sienna Mae Gomez, reflections from an 18-year-old me. As I was saying before, this girl absolutely thinks that she is in The Notebook or in like a John Green novel, like Fault in Our Stars. Reflections from an 18-year-old me. I sit at the beach with the wind in my hair. I smell the salty air coming from the sea. I should be happy, but all I feel inside is empty, even with my happy birthday crown on my head. Why do I feel so empty? Why do I feel so alone? This should be the most beautiful moment of my life. I'm not actually reading what she's saying. I'm just like, No, I'm not actually reading what she said. This is just what I'm feeling from her putting this picture here. That's like the vibe that I'm getting from this. Why the hell did you... Hungry, sad, mad. She's literally the Dixie songs. True. The website is monetized. Oh my god. So am I giving Sienna money for this? God damn it. All right, no one else go to this website. I gave her probably a penny, but we're not going to give her any more money. All right. Let's get into reading it. I haven't even been 18 a whole week yet, but the decisions I've had to make as a new adult are challenging in ways that make me wish I could just go back to being a kid. Oh. Okay, so her first apology video was all about like how I'm just young and everyone who is young makes mistakes, and now her new angle is I'm 18 now. I'm so old. I wish I could go back to the days when I was young. And I was so innocent back then when I made my first apology video after assaulting him. But this is my second apology, and in this one, I'm 18 now, so I'm so old. God. If you're here, you probably... I saw a video of her saying the N-word. Oh, great. Yep. Cool. Racism as well. Add it to the list of offenses. If you're here, you probably know about my situation. I'm going to assume that you already know that for the last 8 months, I've been fighting a very public battle that involves topics I didn't know much about until recently. Okay, so she's trying to establish that she is ignorant. Like, I had no idea that it's not okay to kiss someone and take your clothes off without consent. She's just trying to establish ignorance. That's not how the world works. You don't get to punch someone in the face and then you're like, I just recently learned that apparently punching people in the face is not an okay thing to do. I had no idea. No one ever told me that I can't punch people in the face, so sorry. Her posting romantic photos of them in the blog post shows how deranged and obsessed. Oh yeah, we'll get to that. Trigger warning, sexual assault, boundaries, consent. For 8 long, grueling months, I've been fighting to save friendships, to save business. Oh my fucking God! Why are you talking about business relationships? This is real girl boss capitalism moment right here. Why is this the time to talk about your business relationships? I don't care about your brand deals, Sienna. Oh my God. All right, where were we? To save my own mental health. Up until this week, I was so proud of the progress I had made, like being on my phone less and learning to surf and cook with friends. This is her O.J. Simpson moment, if I did it. Yeah, this is very O.J. Simpson vibes. Like being on my phone less and learning to surf and cook with friends and value things that really matter. See, this is what I'm saying. This is like, the way she's talking in this is like she really thinks she's in a John Green novel. I don't care about your life story. I don't care about, like, the things you've been, like, that you're surfing on the weekends. I want to know about, like, if you hurt Jack or not, and you, like, holding yourself accountable for your actions. 4 days after turning 18, my former friend Jack Wright, the one I've been tangled with in a toxic web of accusations and internet tea. What? Oh my God, guys, this is just such toxic tea. Of course she's trying to downplay the situation and make it out like it's just one of those drama videos like, oh my God, Sienna is dating who? That's not what's happening here. This is not tea. This is assault charges and crime, Sienna. Toxic web of accusations and internet tea. With T in quotation marks. Yeah, T is in quotation marks because this isn't tea, this is crimes. Whenever I'm taking a sip of Earl Grey, that's usually when I commit crimes against people. T equals crimes in Sienna's mind. So Jack Wright posted a 17-minute video about me. Yesterday, 5 days after turning 18, I had to say okay to a media statement written by my publicists in response to that video. Shortly after that, my legal team sent his legal team a letter threatening a lawsuit for defaming my character because that is the best step to clear your name. I'm sure it's all hitting the media now. So, I hate... Can you please show the video? It's important people know her character. Well, possibly. We're gonna get through this. I hate when, like, there's definitely this push of people being like David Dobrik did this in his apology video too, where people are like, my legal team said to not make this statement, but I have to be raw and I have to be the real me and really speak my mind. It's like, I don't care about, you think that, like, talking about your legal team is going to humanize you and bring you down to earth? No, because the majority of people don't have legal teams. That's not going to What do you think talking about your legal team is going to make us empathize with you more? And I just hate, they're like, my legal team told me not to make this statement, but I said no. I have to be the real me. I don't care. It's just it's just so cringy. I've never been so scared in my life. Oh yeah, I empathize with you so much. If you want to talk to people about being scared, maybe talk to Jack about how he felt when you were breaking into his room while he was sleeping. I thought turning 18 would be amazing, and so far it honestly just sucks. I feel like this is not a fucking John Green novel. What are you doing? Like, this feels like a voiceover from like a coming of age movie. Like, this whole thing feels like what would play at the beginning of some coming of age movie. Like, I thought turning 18 would be amazing, but so far, it honestly just sucks. Like, this is a voiceover. What she, like, gets, someone, like, dumps something on her dress or something. This is, you're not in a coming of age movie, Sienna. You are being accused of assault. Ah, yes, downplaying the severity to invalidate Jack and other victims. Yes, that's basically all this is. I have 3 choices that I can see. Go read the millionth I hope you blank yourself message in my DMs. Let my well-meaning parents and team dictate next steps and tie us up for what could be years in a legal battle with people who I once considered my closest friends. Or 3, write down everything from my heart and use my newfound adult status to take accountability and share the whole truth with anyone who will listen. What? You think only adults can take accountability for their actions? That literally is in line with what I said in my original video, that she's like, I'm young, so I don't know what I'm doing. Well, now she's like, the second I turned 18, I'm an adult now, so I can take accountability for my actions now. It's like, no, Sienna, you could have taken accountability for your actions when you were 17. Also, my perspective is, like, it is absolutely never acceptable to send someone death threats. That is something, like, I will die on this hill. I am 100% absolutely always never think it's okay to send death threats. And if I ever find out a single fan of me sent death threats to someone in my name, I will be fucking pissed off out of my mind. Don't do that shit. But this is not the time for you to bring that up as a sympathy card. This is not the time for you to say, oh, I've been getting so many hate messages. Like, it's absolutely not okay that people are sending you that, but you don't get to play that as a sympathy card right now. You have to address the situation. To be honest, it's hard not to choose number 1 and to actually follow it through. That is so manipulative. This is like this is literally something that emotionally abusive people do, is they threaten to commit, because they're like, oh, well, if you leave me, I'm going to commit, and that's an emotional abuse tactic, because everyone is like, it's the natural response to want to show someone empathy when they talk about wanting to do that to themselves. But there are certain situations where even if in your head you're thinking about doing that, you can't use that as something to try to gain sympathy from the other person, because it, like, that can be really traumatizing to another person for you to bring that up. And this is not the time for you to bring that up. The time for you to bring that up is to your therapist, not when you have been dealing with accusations like this. I told my parents last night that I just wanted to die. I'm so tired of fighting. I'm so tired of seeing the hate and people taking sides. So tired of people taking sides. Yeah, she's trying to, like, make this seem like it's internet beef or tea, and like everyone's picking sides. Like, a lot of people have picked my side, but I'm just tired of the picking sides. My heart hurts for my friends, my family, people I associate with who are getting bullied on their own social media accounts. Yeah, that's not good, but like, it's just, yeah, she's just literally, it's like a deck of Pokemon cards. It's like a deck of Victimon cards. and every new, she's like, play the I got death threats card. Play the my family's getting bullied card. Play the I'm so tired card. And it's like, that's not how it works. Keep that to yourself. Like, all of that stuff is like valid things that people experience, but this is not the time to do that. So I'm just going to choose number 3 for the sake of people I love. I'm just going to be real and bare my soul and have faith and trust I'll land where I'm meant to be. This fucking, like, it's just this fake, like, it feels like fake authenticity. Like, I'm going to be so authentic and tell my real truth. It's like, if you want to be authentic, just say what's authentic. You don't need to tell us that you're going to be authentic, because usually when people talk about how authentic they aren't authentic. All right, I know you all have been wondering about this shit. What is wrong with you? Putting a picture of, like, trying to make it look like you're in this loving relationship when he has already established that he was just friends with you and he wasn't uncomfortable with, like, the way that, like, you were treating the situation. I guess she's putting this picture in here to try to paint a different narrative of, like, that they were in love with each other. My impression from the situation is that it was like a fake social media relationship for clout. And, like, I think fake social media relationships are, like, kind of cringe or whatever, but I don't think there's, like, anything inherently wrong with having a fake social media relationship, as long as you, like, establish with the other person what your boundaries are. And it's clear that the boundaries that Jack established were that he wasn't comfortable with the things that she was doing. God, we're going into the backstory of Sienna? This really is like a short story. She should really submit this to, like, some short story competitions and see if they respond well to this. When I was just 16 years old, one of my TikTok videos went viral on social media, then another, don't care. I asked my hometown friend James Wright to do my first big interview with me in Los Angeles. He was out of town. I was friends with Jack but knew James better. Both of them had blown up on TikTok. I don't care. From that day on, my life would never be the same. Since the day that my TikTok went viral, my life will never be the same. Jack introduced me to people in LA, to new friends that I had been watching online for months, to a new fast-paced lifestyle that was so different to the one we lived in. The one we lived in our small town. I just wasn't used to the fast-paced lifestyle in the big city. It was just so different than what I was used to in my little small town. It was just such a culture shock for me. Sounds like she's... Everything she's doing here is trying to, like, humanize herself, I guess. But it just comes across as incredibly manipulative. I'm just a small-town girl. We instantly connected. He was my person. We got each other safely home after parties. We had each other's backs. People noticed a spark between us, and our videos together went viral. Suddenly, we were America's favorite teenage ship. Sienna, I can promise you with absolute certainty, you were not America's favorite teenage ship at any point. I spend a good amount of time on TikTok, and I had never heard about your relationship with this guy until he accused you of assaulting him. Like, maybe if it was Charlie and, you know, Lil Huddy, like, you could say that was like America's favorite teenage ship, but no one cares about you. Why are you trying to inflate your ego? And, like, and it all happens so fast. For some reason, the way she's saying these things makes me want to give her, like, a southern accent. It all happened so fast that neither one of us really knew what it meant. We were thrown into a crazy, exciting relationship because the public demanded it. What? The public demanded it? So you're blaming the public now? So I guess what she's saying is that, like, the relationship... Probably what happened is this is a legit fan fiction. Yeah, I feel like I'm reading a My Little Pony fanfic. I guess probably what happened was her and Jack made a video together on TikTok, and then she probably got a couple comments being like, "Oh my god, I ship this." And then Sienna was like, "See, Jack, we're America's favorite ship, so we have to do this together." And then Jack, being a nice guy, is like, well, okay, you know. That's what I'm getting from this. It just shows how absolutely My Little Pony, not My Little Pony. I don't mean that. I just mean like a random. You read My Little Pony fanfics? No, I don't read My Little Pony fanfics. I've never read My Little Pony's fanfics. Never. I don't read that shit, okay? That's not something I read. We were thrown into a crazy, exciting relationship because the public demanded it. There are 3 things that Americans really want: universal health care, workers' rights, and the relationship between Sienna and Jack Wright. God damn it, that's what the public demands. That's what the public needs. Just a small town girl living in a lonely world. She took the midnight train going straight to jail. Yeah, she's doing way too much. We couldn't make enough content together. If we went just a few days without the other in our videos, the press would run stories like, did Jack and Sienna... No, the press was not... The press doesn't care about you. I think this... Like, there's a lot of people with inflated egos on the internet, but I think, like, this girl is the definition of inflated ego. If we went just a few days without the other in our videos, the press would run stories like, did Jack and Sienna break up? And people would comment things like, if they don't get married, I don't believe in love. Of course you're gonna get a few 12-year-olds commenting if they break up. Like, that's what 12-year-olds do. They comment that shit on every fucking post of 2 people. Major companies were reaching out with brand deals. Stop talking about fucking brand deals! I need to not get so mad about this. Do you watch My Little Pony? I have never watched My Little Pony. Genuinely, I've never watched My Little Pony. I think I watched the intro of one episode and I'm like, this is not for me. This reads like one of those life stories before a recipe. I'm like, girl, get to the ingredients. Yeah, seriously. Major companies are reaching out with brand deals. Jack even switched agents to make it easier for work opportunities. Somewhere along the way, and in a very confusing state of not knowing what was fake and what was real, I started to fall in love with him. Okay, so she's trying to frame it as in I don't know what's real and what's fake, but if he has clearly said that he's not interested in a, like, serious relationship with you, what is real is what he's telling you that his boundaries are. You have to listen to people when they state your boundaries. You don't get to just be like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to trust his boundaries or not. Like, no, if someone establishes your boundaries, you have to listen to them. Hype House. In December 2020, after 4 incredible months of TikTok fame, more fun than I've ever had in what seemed like the perfect life, I got a call from the producers of the Hype House show asking me to be one of the featured influencers headlining the series. Wow, Sienna, you are so famous. She might possibly be the most famous person in the entire world. I bet the Hype House producers would never edit you out of the show because you're so famous. They also told me they didn't plan to have Jack in a lead role. To me, that felt wrong. He was the one who introduced me to all these people, and I wasn't even an official member of the Hype House. Thomas Petro asked me to join, but my parents said no. So I decided to be on the show, but only if Jack was in a lead role too. Oprah who? Yeah, so now she's trying to hype herself up that, she's trying to make herself out like she's a saint and that she cared so much for Jack and got him a lead on the hit Netflix show, The Hype House. Thank you, Sienna. I'm sure Jack is so grateful to you for doing that. From February through April 2021, we filmed for the show. They filmed us both in our hometown. They filmed scenes with our Hawaiian friends at my house and his. They even filmed us in Hawaii. Get to the fucking point. What does this have to do with the allegations? Well, it was a lot of fun. What wasn't fun is that the producers and other Hype House members kept pressing us to define what we were. 2 17-year-olds being pressured again and again to answer questions like, are you more than friends and what do you love most about him or her? So I see some validity to the idea Manipulation attempt failed. Yeah, there's literally a new manipulation attempt every 2 seconds. I definitely think reality TV producers are the absolute scum of the earth. So I can see how, at least on camera, it would suck to feel like you have these adults trying to pressure teenagers into like being in a relationship with each other for the sake of the show. Which is why I think, honestly, TV shows like centered around children is like, how is that not breaking child labor laws, you know? Especially fucking shows like Dance Moms or like the whatever those shows are that have children as the main characters. It's like really gross, and it's weird that it's even legal. But you don't get to use this as a scapegoat of that, oh, I was assaulting Jack because the Hype House show producers pressured me into doing it. This is her life story. Yeah, this is her autobiography. And she just had to get it out because she's not going to have computer access in prison. So she had to get it uploaded as quickly as possible. 2 17-year-olds being pressured again and again to answer questions like, are you more than friends? What do you love most about him or her? It was so confusing and emotional as we both started to realize that uncovering the truth behind our relationship, which we agreed not to put a label on, was a major storyline on the show. Ah, so they had to put a label on it because of the show. I saw your AGT audition with Simon Cowell the other day. Seeing it remind me of it. Awesome, yeah, that was America's Got Talent is a horrible show. Fuck America's Got Talent. The more they pressed me on camera, the more emotional I got because I wasn't sure if we were friends or more. Well, maybe you should have communicated with Jack and listened to him when he was stating his boundaries that he wanted to just be friends. We would agree to just be friends, and he would gift me expensive or even matching jewelry or plan elaborate outings. You can buy your friends things and have outings with them. And again, focusing all this on like, oh, was it a real relationship or not? Like that is kind of, I feel like that is turning it into like more of like a drama or tea thing of like, was it a real relationship? Like, or were we just friends? Like, I don't care about that. Even if you are in a relationship, you still don't get to do the things that you did to Jack. So this is all honestly pretty much irrelevant whether you were or weren't. And maybe I can possibly give you that maybe he was leading you on in some way. I don't know. I mean, I wasn't there. I don't know. But whether or not someone is like leading you on that maybe they want to have a relationship with you doesn't give you the excuse to sexually assault them. We would talk in a quiet place and say we're just friends, and the next day be making out with each other for the cameras. Did he ever say off camera that he didn't want to be just friends? Because that would be pretty fucking important, is like whether or not he actually said that he wanted to be more than just friends. But yeah, that's really that's fucking scummy on the side of the producers of the show, if they're pressuring children into kissing each other because they think it'll make for good TV. Ugh, I hate reality show producers. I didn't know what was being set up by producers, if it was real or fake. I told him I loved him, and he said he loved me too. I would ask if he wanted to be more than friends, and he would say not yet. Rejection isn't comfortable, but it's honest. The show had to go on, so I just kind of went with it. Okay. So, sounds like there could be complicated things going on of whether or not they're actually in a relationship. But like I said, that none of this is relevant. None of this is relevant to if you actually like abused him or not. I absolutely agree with her that reality TV show producers should not be pressuring children into being in a relationship that they're not comfortable with. In May, we took another trip to Hawaii through Hype House filming had wrapped. Though Hype House filming had wrapped at this point, the internet was going crazy for our content. Oh my God, stop. Ugh. The internet was not going crazy for your content. Some children on TikTok were going crazy for your content. Especially since we hadn't posted a lot during filming because it had to be exclusive to the show. We both felt pressure. I wasn't originally supposed to be on this trip. But to be clear, he said I could come a few days before going. Looking back now, I see that it was to make content. Something on this trip was different. Everywhere we went, he introduced me as his girl, but then take pictures and blatantly flirt with other people. I was jealous, but more than that, I was confused. Why was I here? Why was he introducing me as his counterpart, telling me to wait patiently to be together if he didn't really want any of it? I just feel, yeah, everything she's saying here is framing this like relationship drama T type thing of a will they, won't they type thing. I don't know how many times I have to keep repeating that it really doesn't matter whether you were in a relationship or not. That doesn't excuse any of the things he's accused you of doing. And then without producers and cameras around for the first time in months, it really hit me. He liked me when he needed me for a video for work, but he didn't like me otherwise. Okay, well, you should have communicated that with each other. You should have sat down and had a conversation and said... And I agree that if that's really what happened, then he should have been more open and said, hey, this is a social media relationship, off camera, I'm not interested. But it's from his video, he said that he was like letting her know that he was just friends. So I don't know. I don't know if he really was leading her on or if she's just has convinced herself that he was leading her on. I told him that if he didn't have real feelings for me, I wanted to set the record straight publicly about our relationship. He told me we had brand partnerships riding on our fake one and that it wasn't fair to him. Yeah, that's a really toxic situation to be stuck in. But, like, if you're putting on a show for social media, and this is, like, kind of like you playing a character that you're in a relationship, then that's, like, just what you, I guess, have to do. I think I think faking relationships for social media is going to always turn toxic, probably, and that's probably a bad idea in general. This is just victim blaming and gaslighting. Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't believe that someone who I had created with, laughed with, and cried with could so easily disregard my feelings for the sake of money. If he had established from the get-go that he wanted to be friends and he never said he wanted more, then it's your own fault for getting sad that he is disregarding your feelings because he gave his boundaries that that's what he was not interested in. He apologized. I appreciate that, but I needed time away from him and our public persona to think and heal. So she is admitting here that she acknowledges that he never liked her and that they were just friends. I understand that it probably sucked for her to realize that like they were never going to be more than friends, but that has nothing to do with if it's okay to get naked and assault someone or break into their shower or any of those things. So I went home and took time away from him and family. I received multiple texts from James, Jack's twin, asking why I wasn't responding to them. 2 weeks later, they started posting Instagram stories targeted at me. 1 day later, their friend Mason put up a tweet implying that I physically and mentally abused Jack. A few days after that, their friend Lachlan released a video taken from November 20 party showing Jack and me kissing. He narrated the whole video to make it look like it was something I wasn't. To be clear, James took the video as a joke on his Snapchat 7 months earlier, and they decided to resurface it. Okay, what was it that it wasn't? Jack clearly said that he was unconscious, and that I think there could be truth to the idea that like people don't understand how serious assault is, and like don't understand that like assault from girls is just as serious and that you can't just like make out with someone while they're asleep. So these teenagers who are stupid might have thought that it was like funny to film that, but that doesn't make it okay. That just means that those teenagers were also being stupid and they shouldn't have thought it was funny. They should have said like, hey, you need to fucking stop right now. This is unacceptable. Yeah, what was the joke then? Yeah, there's like... Yeah, took the video as a joke. Okay, well, even if they took the video as a joke, that doesn't mean you doing it is a joke. It's assault. I'm a sexual assault advocate. This is exactly the crap I hear in court literally all the time, victim blaming and sob stories. Yeah, everyone is always going to have their side of the story that makes them out to not be the bad one. If someone has not given you consent to make out with them when they're passed out, if you make out with them when they're passed out, you assaulted them, that is a crime. You can go to jail. Mason nor James realized the impact that their tweets and the taken out of context video would have. What's the context, Sienna? What's the context? You never said what the actual context is. If the context was that Jack said, hey, you should make out with me when I'm unconscious. That would be the only context that would make this acceptable. Though they took it all down, it doesn't really matter. The damage had been done. My character became a topic of public opinion. Yeah, obviously, when you have millions of followers, your character's going to become a topic of public opinion. I lost friends. I lost brand deals. The fucking 3 strikes and you're out. You've mentioned brand deals 3 times now. You are fucking out. Stop talking about brand deals. I swear to God, if there's one thing that influencers need to listen is don't bring up brand deals in your fucking apologies. How, like, that's literally the most, that is, I shouldn't be giving, like, advice on how to make people empathize with you more, but talking about your brand deals is the opposite of what is going to make people empathize with you. My reputation was damaged. Yeah, people's reputations should be damaged when they assault people. I went from being one of the most loved girls on the internet to one of the most hated. You were not one of the most loved girls on the internet, Sienna. I just hate that. Why does she keep needing to mention, like, how amazing she is and pumping up her ego? Like, I'm all for positivity. Like, if someone thinks that they're one of the most loved girls on the internet, like, that's fine, whatever. But this is not the time for that. I went quiet. I lost my will to live and had to be saved. I was hanging from a cliff, and I just needed someone to come rescue me. I spent months healing and getting better. My team asked Hype House producers to remove me from the show so that I did not have to relive the online bullying in light of the crazy Team Jack and Team Sienna sentiment online. It's not Team Jack and Team Sienna. It's Team You're an Abuser and Team Victim Blaming. Team Abuser and Team Victim Blamers. I hate, why is she, everything in this apology is like trying to frame it like it's drama and tea and it's a competition, like Team Jack, Team Sienna means it's like a fucking choose your football team. Do you want to side with the abusers or the victims? Oh my God. Team Jack and Team Sienna sentiment online is they knew people would pick apart every interaction between us. Please watch PG Vid. I don't know what PG Vid is. Thank you for the $2. That's why I wasn't in the show. That's why producers had to figure out what to fill with months, without months of Jack and Sienna footage. I'm sure the Hype House members are mad at me. I would probably hate me too. I'm sorry, especially to the cast and crew who worked so hard on this show. You should be sorry. Yeah, you should be sorry that the fact that you assaulted someone led to fucking up the production of the show. So yeah, I mean, that is valid that when you assault people, it's gonna like make shows cut you out of their show. So that is, I guess, something to apologize for. But she still has not taken accountability for anything. She just says taken out of context video, saying it's something it wasn't. So she has yet to say, I'm sorry for kissing you while you were unconscious. I'm sorry if that made you uncomfortable. Okay. Let's see. I think we're past the halfway point. This is so long. Oh my God. Is she promoting the show? Yeah, I wonder if she's getting money from the show to promote it in her autobiography like this. Probably not. Jack, setting the record straight. I've had 3 relationships in my life. My first boyfriend was so sweet to me, and although I was just turning 14 when I started dating him, he was supportive and caring and communicated his feelings, like how he preferred my time over public affection. It sounds like you've been very lucky with like the guys that you have found, and then you have been a horrible person who's treated them like shit. In his YouTube video, Jack brought this relationship up even though it happened 4 years ago. Did I kiss another guy? Yes, I did, a day after we broke up. And I'm still friends with both he and my ex. I don't care. It happened when we were both 14, 15. Got over it because that's what people do. Yeah, I don't care. My next boyfriend is one of the funniest and big-hearted people I know. I hung out with him and his family just a few weeks ago, and the reason we broke up after almost a year together was because he didn't like me being on social media. So I guess this guy is still friends with her even though she is an abuser. We decided to be just friends. Exactly 1 week after my first video went viral, this whole thing with Jack is breaking his heart because he knows the real me, not just some version of me. Okay, great. I'm glad to hear that this guy is a victim blamer as well. It's ironic now that his fear of social media and online fame and what might do to me is the reason we broke up. I don't care. Why? Why would I care about the other 2 people you've dated in the past? What does that have to do with anything? What does any of this have to do with anything? And then came Jack. I was really grateful to know someone already in the social media world, and we had so much fun together. But as someone I loved and still love, I'm devastated that he made me sound crazy and twisted so many things out of context in his recent video, to the point of literally painting me into the, oh my God, loud, crazy, overly sexualized stereotype that people try to use on young, especially Latina women. Did he ever call her crazy, overly sexual? He never, said that she was overly sexualized. Why are you putting these in quotes? He didn't say these things about you. Maybe he said that you were loud when you were yelling at him, verbally abusing him in front of people at a party. If you're yelling at people, then, yeah, that's being loud. Yes, obviously these stereotypes about Latina women are not good, but you don't get to you're weaponizing every possible card. This is just another card of people are only making me out to be a bad person because I'm Latina. It's yeah, I'm sure there are instances where Latina women are, there are absolutely instances where Latina women are stereotyped and made out to be things that they're not. But this is like Lele Pons. You don't get to say, oops, I abused you, sorry, that's just what Latina women do. No, that's not what Latina women do. And you fucking trying to lump other Latina women into your situation is actually, frankly, disrespectful to other Latina women. It sucks, and I'm still unpacking that. All I can own are my own words, and I want to clear a few things up. I never broke into Jack's house. Did I know the code to his garage door? Yes, because he gave it to me. I didn't break into his house. I already knew how to get into his house, so it's not breaking and entering because I already knew how to get in there. That's not how breaking and entering works. That's not how consent works. You clearly have no understanding of consent. Letting someone into your house one time doesn't mean you have consent to go into their house whenever you want to. Consenting to kissing someone one time doesn't mean you have consent to kiss them whenever you want to. She's absolutely the worst, I agree. Clearly you don't understand consent whatsoever. One of the first scenes we filmed for the Hype House show was me walking into his house and jokingly saying, I'm home, because that's what everyone does at the Wright's house. It's the hangout house. When Jack and James lived there, there was always friends around, even until 2 a.m. So what does that have to do with anything? Just because a lot of people go into the house, this is it's like a slut-shaming for houses. You're slut-shaming his house. That's literally what she's doing right now. She's slut-shaming his house. She's everyone comes into that house all the time, so I should be able to go in there whenever I want to. Stop slut-shaming houses, Sienna! It's not okay. Just because someone has given you consent to come into their house one time doesn't mean you have consent to go into his house at 2 a.m. and walk into his room and take his pants off. It's a slutty house. Everyone is always entering that dirty house. Oh my God. Jack said he used to see my car at 2 a.m. in front of his house, but failed to mention that most times there were other friends there too. It doesn't matter if there were other friends there too. If he was afraid of you specifically because he knew you were going to try and come in his room while he's asleep, then it makes sense. Oh my God, she's literally using all the victim blaming excuses except for houses. I never stalked him. I never sat outside his house in the middle of the night. Over the past week, some of our mutual hometown friends have reached out. Like me, they aren't sure how to process some of what is Jack saying and are just as confused as I am. So you're saying, but you didn't deny coming into his house without him telling you you could come in, and you didn't deny going into his room and putting your hands on him while he's asleep. Did you? It doesn't look like she's denied any of that. I'm losing brain cells listening to her. Yeah, I know. All Jack and I ever did was kiss. I have never seen, felt, or touched him naked. So you've never seen him naked. Are you denying that you got naked, though? Because he claimed that you got naked and then got onto him. We spent several nights at the Hype House together, but I never grabbed him asleep or awake. Yet I'm still being called an R-word across the internet by those who don't understand the meaning of the word. So she's denying grabbing him. Yet he said he was afraid while he's asleep of her and you're on video grabbing him. What do you mean? In the video that was posted on the internet, you're grabbing his crotch, or at least grabbing his upper leg. So there's literally video of you feeling him up and touching him while he's asleep. How can you say you never grabbed him while he was asleep when you're on video grabbing him when he's asleep? And obviously making out with someone while they're asleep isn't the same as R-wording them, but it's still assault and it's still illegal. So, like, this is like the only time where she's straight up just denying the allegations, but there's video of you grabbing him while he's asleep. So we have proof that you at least did it once, so why are we supposed to believe you that the other times were lies? Hi, Ryan. What's up, XO? Kayla, thank you for the $2. There's a counterpoint for every point Jack made in this video, but I'm not going to do that. Why would you make a novel? Why would you write this entire novel if you're not going to refute the points he made against you? She's playing 4D chess victimhood. Yeah, it's honestly a masterclass in victimhood. It's not essay if the camera's on. Yeah. Why would you write this is like a 20-page novel and you're not gonna respond to every point Jack made in the video? I wonder why you're not gonna make a counterpoint to everything that Jack said in the video. Probably because your counterpoints are flimsy and completely fall apart. That's gonna be my guess. Did I do some things wrong and sloppy as a 16, 17-year-old girl who fell in love for a guy? Yes, for sure. Okay, so this right here is an admission of guilt. It's, saying wrong and sloppy is like... Or, okay, she's saying, I admit to stepping out of a car, stopped at a stop sign. Last year, New Year's, after we publicly fought, there was alcohol involved. I'm not proud of my behavior. No one cares if you stepped out of a car. After we kissed at midnight, he went and flirted with other people. At least that's how I saw it. I got jealous. It was stupid, and I'm so ashamed. I mean, all that stuff I don't really care about. It just, shows a cycle of abuse if you were yelling at him. At midnight, he went and flirted with other people. At least that's how I saw it. You don't have a right to get jealous about that if you never established that you were in a relationship with each other. If you never established that you were dating, then you have no right to get jealous if he's flirting with other girls. But that said, he did some stupid stuff too. All right, okay, now accuse the victim of stuff. Like chasing after a car full of guys, trying to start a fight with them because they catcalled me on the street? What? What? Are you saying that's a bad thing? So he stood up for you. He stood up for you and tried to chase down these guys because they catcalled you because he was trying to protect you? And you're saying that you're using that as a way to attack him? He literally sounds like this makes him seem like a really nice guy. Or locking our mutual friend out of his rental house in Hawaii because he was flirting with me? I don't know, just chalk it up to being young and the fact that our brains aren't even full. No, Which is it, Sienna? Is it your brain young and not fully developed, or are you 18 and you now are old? Teenagers do stupid things. Yeah, I mean, this is literally what I made fun of her in the other video. There's a reason that we have juvenile hall. There's a reason why young people still can go to prison and are still held accountable for their actions. You don't get to just pull the I'm young card. That's not how it works. Man, teenagers just make mistakes sometimes. You know, sometimes we, blow up buildings, but, that's what teenagers do. That's just quirky teenager stuff. My regrets. I wish I knew then what I know now. I wish we had laid out boundaries that made sense to both of us. It sounds like he did lay out boundaries that he kept saying no over and over. The way boundaries work, or it should work, is the second someone says no, you completely stop, and then you don't, initiate again unless they've made it clear that they want to initiate. The way boundaries work is you don't get to keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. That protected both of us from feeling vulnerable or misled. I don't know a lot of other people who at 17... I'm younger than her. I've never assaulted anyone. Yeah, the majority of young people haven't assaulted anyone. I don't know a lot of other people who at 17 know how to do that with their partners, but I would have liked to have tried. I wish I knew that every time he did something nice for me didn't necessarily mean that he wanted to be my real-life boyfriend and not just my internet boyfriend. Someone doing something nice for you doesn't mean that you're in a relationship with them. When your parents get you things, does that mean you're in a relationship with your parents? No. I also feel like we need to normalize people of opposite genders being platonic friends and doing nice things for each other. Just because someone does something nice for you doesn't mean that they're your boyfriend. And it goes the opposite way. There are a ton of entitled guys that think that once they do something nice for a girl that it makes them entitled to sex or whatever, That's not how the world works. He doesn't want to be your boyfriend unless he says he wants to be your boyfriend. I wish we knew together how toxic the relationship had become before it spun out the way it did. It sounds like he knew the whole time how toxic it was because he was being traumatized by the way that you were groping him while he was sleeping. Looking back, there are definitely some things I would do differently. How close are we to... Okay, I think we still have a little bit to go, but we're close. She's blaming Jack. Yeah, she's just trying to make it sound like, oh, it's just a toxic relationship. We both made mistakes, Shortly after the first allegations came out last June, I made 2 videos. Both are still on my YouTube, which I wish I could take back. Both are still on my YouTube, which I wish I could take back. Can't you delete them if you want? I'm not proud of how I responded and want to apologize to sexual assault survivors who I offended with my ignorance in responding to these false allegations. Okay, so you're still saying they're false allegations even though there's literal video of you doing it. This is just more gaslighting, oh, I'm sorry if your feelings got hurt because I didn't respond to the false allegations correctly. That's not the problem here. They were made hastily and without oversight from anyone but my brother and me. I have since learned a lot about sexual assault and the psychological trauma responses victims of sexual assault may develop as a result of abuse. Okay, well then why aren't you using this newly found knowledge that you have gained to empathize with what you did to Jack? The people who need an apology from you are not the victims of assault. I mean, they do need an apology from you because you're perpetuating victim blaming, but the main person who needs an apology from you is Jack. I learned what Stockholm Syndrome and trauma bonds are, and I'm grateful to have had the opportunity to learn so that I can be a better ally to victims of sexual assault. What does that have to do with anything? Are you saying that Jack had Stockholm Syndrome, or are you saying that you had Stockholm Syndrome? I don't know. Understanding love languages. When Jack and I fought, I tried to fix it with love and affection. See, that's the problem. You don't get to... I mean, this is literally admitting that, like, she's giving affection. You don't get to give, like, physical affection to someone unless they've consented to you doing that. If you give physical affection to someone who doesn't want it, that is assault. Where her parents? I have no idea. Growing up, I was taught to be communicative and treat each other with love. For me, that means hugs and physical affection, which means, yes, I would wrap my arms around Jack to hug him when I was feeling insecure or he was. It's just a show of love. It's just a nice loving hug. That's a great way to frame the fact that, like, when he was trying to get away from you, you would, like, wrap your legs around him so he couldn't move. That is so loving of you to hold him in place so he can't get away from you. That is just so incredibly loving of a thing to do. I also tried to verbally express my feelings for him because that's what I like in relationships. We would joke about it all the time and even make TikToks about it because to both of us, at least at the time, it was funny. This is all so confusing. Looking back, I see that I should have met him at his love language versus mine. This is not a discussion of love languages. This is a discussion of consent and boundaries. You don't get to say, like, my love language is physical affection, so I just can't help it that I'm always grabbing people and groping them and being all over them. And also, didn't you said, like, up here that you never, like, grabbed him? And then now you're saying that you did grab him because that's your love language? And you're literally on video grabbing him, so you have, like, literally contradicted what you said up there. I'm sorry for that because I think it meant we blurred boundaries. We should have been stronger. My only intention was to love him and tell him that he mattered. My only intention when I was screaming at you and holding you in place and breaking into your shower and coming into your room in the middle of the night was to just show how much I love you, Jack. Come on, it's just a little mistake. The importance of consent. Consent isn't really something that I was formally taught in school. That doesn't matter. I agree that the school system is fucked and they need to teach consent, but you don't get to say, I didn't know about that this thing that I was doing was a crime. That's not how the legal system works. If you commit a crime, you're still held accountable for it because you still hurt a victim. Your victim, it doesn't hurt your victim less if you don't understand the concept of consent. It still hurts the victim just as much if you don't know what consent is. And if you're admitting that you didn't learn what consent is, then that probably means that you're admitting that you did things without his consent. My parents have been married for 23 years, and I grew up watching them freely express affection to each other. That's because your parents have established their boundaries. Your parents have established with each other that it was okay to touch each other and freely express that. You and Jack did not establish these boundaries. He was clearly telling you multiple times that he was uncomfortable, saying no. So you don't just get to say, well, my parents are always hugging each other, so that means I should be able to hug you whenever I want. I understand now that not everyone has this comfortability with affection. It's not about comfortability. It's about establishing boundaries. I understand now that when you're in a relationship, there needs to be a very open and honest conversation about consent even before sexual acts. Okay, well, it doesn't matter if you've learned that now. If you violated consent in the past, it's still a crime. Even if it's holding hands, hugging, and being affectionate in a friendly manner. The last thing I would ever want to do is breach someone's boundaries, and for that I became explicitly aware of the way I interact with others and will do better. But Jack said that he would, repeatedly say no, repeatedly say he was uncomfortable, and you would repeatedly keep pushing. It's not like you made one move, and then he said stop, and then you're like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cross your boundary. You, according to Jack, you were, repeatedly being told no, 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 no. You don't get to use the I didn't understand consent excuse when someone is repeatedly telling you to stop doing something. Any person with a fucking brain knows that when someone repeatedly tells you to stop, that means you fucking stop. Jack, if you're reading this, I apologize if there were times that I made you feel uncomfortable. I'm sorry if anything I ever did triggered other things that you have experienced or any feelings of discomfort. She's literally downplaying like, oh, the only reason he could have been uncomfortable with what I was doing is because I was triggering his past experiences. The way she said our mutual friends are confused by the situation is giving our mutual friends don't support you. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for the $10, Pony Boy. Yeah, literally what she's saying is, like, people are siding with me because they trust me over you, even though I'm the one who assaulted you. Anything I did unknowingly, as our physical relationship on camera was one of closeness and familiarity that I had known to carry into our real lives. That's not... You don't get to be like, oh, I didn't know consent. I didn't know that it's not okay to keep doing something when someone keeps telling me to stop. That's not going to hold up in a court of law. I agree that it's a failing on the education system. It's a failing on the part of your parents. Your parents should have explained consent to you growing up. But just because you didn't have a fully formed understanding of it doesn't mean that that lets you off the hook. And I don't even buy it, because anyone should know if someone is repeatedly telling you to stop, that means you stop. That said, there is a distinct line between that and sexual assault. I'm so sad that this is where we ended up, and even more so that I'm being used in a new and even more harmful way. So she's saying, like, maybe I made you uncomfortable by grabbing you some, but it never crossed the line into sexual assault. Even though, like, literally what you did on video is enough to prove sexual assault. Alright, we're getting close. I'm growing. When I was growing up, I wished every day to become famous. Oh my god, I don't care. Probably, like a lot of kids, sounds so dumb, but I think I kind of willed myself to where I am now. She literally sees herself as a character in a movie. Thank you for the $10, MXD. I appreciate it. Why? Why would you think that wanting to become famous, hoping you'll become famous and then becoming famous doesn't humanize you? That doesn't make people be like, you know, I was really not on her side when I heard that she assaulted him, but once I found out that she was hoping to become famous, that really turned my opinion around. At first it was amazing. Right now, not so much. I have obsessive thoughts about what it would be like to be back at my old high school, choreographing routines for my varsity dance team and waiting for my college acceptance letters. About not having to wear sunglasses and a hat in Starbucks because I don't want the person giving me a drink to spit in it because he thinks I'm an abuser. Victim, 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 victim. Like... Whether you're famous or not, if someone accused you of abuse, like, that can still have negative impacts on your life. You're lucky that you're just a famous person who still probably is really well. You're still incredibly privileged, and I'm sure you still have a lot of money in the bank, and it sounds like your parents are well off. Like, your life is still perfectly fine. You should have been sent to prison, is what should have happened. About not worrying that I'm going to say the wrong things or making a wrong move. If I was a normal girl at a normal school, I would be worried about high school drama rather than trying to wrap my head around how my decisions in response to these serious allegations that will have life-changing repercussions. Oh my god, she's literally making like the argument that the fucking Brock Turner made. These assault allegations are going to... like, hurt the, like, it's the argument of, like, oh, he had so much potential. You wouldn't want to throw him in jail because he's just a young man who didn't know that what he was doing is wrong. So why would you throw away all that potential? Whether or not you're famous or not, you still could have been accused of assault and you still could have, like, ended up in juvie because of it. What does being famous have to do with anything? Jack still could have accused you of assault even if you weren't famous. You crying about being famous makes you just less empathetic. What? Late, but I would like to highlight that she is not a Latino or even a woman of color. She's like 25%. I mean, I don't know about me as a white person, I'm not going to go into like defining if someone is or isn't Latina based on what percentage of Latina they are. I feel like that's not my place to determine. So I don't know. Honestly, I just think I had a little more time to be, I just wish I had a little more time to be normal. If you wanted to have more time to be normal, then you shouldn't have assaulted anyone. That would have been really helpful if you wanted to live a normal life. I'm sure every person who gets sent to prison wishes they had more time to be normal. But after you commit a crime, you gotta do the time. I want this madness to end. I want people to think before they comment unnecessary, hateful things on my social, on my friend's social, and on Jack's socials. I mean, there's a definitely a line between, like, you know, telling someone to KYS, which I am absolutely not in favor of, and people criticizing you for your actions. I mean, if you really can't handle being on the internet, then just delete all your social media accounts. But you aren't going to do that because you're hoping to get more brand deals and hoping that this is just going to blow over. But I feel like at this point it's clearly not going to blow over. If it's really so hard for you being on social media, then delete all your accounts, Sienna. I'm sure we would all be very happy if you did that. I'm tired of seeing people that I don't know jump on the hate train and make up lies. I'm confused that people say arrest her when there has been no involvement by police, no investigations, and no legal action other than mine since this all began. Probably because going through like a police investigation and going like pressing charges can be very difficult and very traumatic for victims. This is literally just victim blaming. I'm tired of living in a space of sadness because I still don't know how exactly one of my best friends turned into someone I'll forever be negatively linked with. I don't know how exactly one of my best friends. I know exactly how he became someone you'll negatively be linked with. You assaulted him. For many, this is TikTok drama and tea, but for me, this is my real life. I promise you, I'm not seeing this as TikTok drama or tea. I'm seeing this as real life, and I'm saying that real crimes have real consequences, and that victims need to be listened to and need to be taken seriously. This is not drama or tea. You saying that is just trying to discredit the situation. To my community of supporters, I so appreciate your kind words in the midst of what has been a very dark time for me. Thank you for showing me love despite my flaws and mistakes. I recently saw this quote: "To make mistakes or be wrong is human. To admit those mistakes shows you have the ability to learn and are growing wiser." You have denied like all the allegations. What are these so you're saying the mistakes that you made are like hugging him too much? This is all so confusing. One second you deny the allegations, the next you say, oh, I didn't understand consent. The next you say, oh, I was touching him too much. The next you say, I never grabbed him. The next you say, oh, I made mistakes, but I'm going to learn and grow. As I enter the second week of my 18th year, I'll let that be my guide. I believe that, like, people can learn and grow from their mistakes, but I think the best place for you to do your learning and growing is from inside a prison cell. After 8 months of feeling muzzled and controlled by lawyers, agents, publicists, and parents, I feel good to speak my truth and share more than I probably should. No, you actually shared much less than you probably should have because you never actually went point by point and talked about the allegations, which is the only thing that actually fucking mattered. I'm sure I'll experience some backlash, but as a just turned 18-year-old, it's all mine to bear now. What? What does turning 18 have to do with anything? I mean, yeah, it's yours to bear because now you'll be tried if you get tried for your crimes, you'll have to go to adult prison. That's the only way that this is any different than when you were 17. So yeah, it is very unlucky for you that if you do get tried for your crimes, you'll have to go to adult prison now. So I feel a lot of empathy for that. She's putting a ton of effort into making people feel bad for her. If only she put that much effort into not assaulting people. Oh boy. All right. That was a lot. That was a lot. Okay, let me take this down. Okay. She posted a new video. Did she post another new video? No, we played the video that she posted. What do we take away from that situation? That was a whole mess. T must be a synonym for crime. Yeah. Guys, I may have committed a few war T's. I may have dropped a few T's on a preschool. I can't even, it's hard to even wrap my head around where to begin with any of that. You didn't really deny any of the allegations. You both denied the allegations, but kind of implied that the allegations were actually correct. You pulled out every victim card in the book. You tried to make us think you're really cool by talking about how famous you are. You attacked him as well, said that he's a bad person because he stood up for you when someone was catcalling you. Yeah, I think that about covers it. That was just a whole fucking mess. Guys, last week I committed a few T's and now I'm going to have to be stuck in the tea kettle for 20 years because I committed aggregated tea. Yeah, everyone stop committing so many T's. I did a crime, but I'm innocent. Uwu. That's basically the gist of this whole thing. Thank you for the donation. Thank you to anyone who donated during the stream. I really appreciate it. I don't know what else to say. Male victims are valid. All victims are valid. I am very proud of Jack for speaking out about the situation. I 100% side with Jack and believe him because she provided no counter evidence. All she did was like victim blame and then contradict herself by like implying that she did violate his consent, but also saying that she didn't violate his consent. So it's just a whole mess. There's a new video on her YouTube. Yeah, I went through Jack's video and her video. I heard that Moist Critical mentioned me in one of his videos. That's awesome. I'm going to go check that out. Anyway, I think that's about it for tonight. I think that was something. That was a whole roller coaster. I might upload this stream to my second channel, possibly. Or I'll at least put this up on my channel because I think this was a good, worthwhile stream to watch. I definitely need to get I need to get an editor. I need to get someone who could like edit these streams down to like an hour or 30 minutes or something. So if anyone who's watching is like a YouTube editor, if you could like send me a DM on Instagram or something, that'd be awesome. Happy belated or early birthday. Guys, it's my birthday in only 9 months from now. Thank you, Opal, for the $3. You can tell the difference in their demeanors. Yeah, Jack seemed so, like, just so genuine and so heartbroken in his video. We enjoyed the stream a lot. Thank you so much to the mods. Thank you, Jazz. Thank you, Brooke. I appreciate you so much for keeping this a more inclusive and safe space. Thank you, Miss Taylor. I appreciate you all so much. Sending love to all the victims. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, if after the stream you guys want to go follow me on like Twitter, Instagram, that'd be awesome. Stay on the lookout for more streams on here. I'm going to get to work on my next YouTube video soon. Make sure you go watch the YouTube video I just posted. Other than that, Sienna May sucks. And I hope you all have a great rest of your evening. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.